Right. The Bears come back or the Packers collapse?
It was the Packers' collapse. And credit to the Bears. I'm going to say that right out the gate because they forced the Packers' collapse.
Okay.
And so I don't agree 100% with what I heard out of Matt LaFleur, being that it was a lot of self-inflicted. The Bears punched you and then continued to punch you, and you stopped punching. I thought in the first half, that first quarter, I was almost ready to text the group. I promise you I was. Not because we were winning or anything like that. Matt LaFleur is on a mission to prove that he's a better player. I'm better. This is personal between myself and Ben.
And Ben seemed like he thought it was personal, and it was screwing up the Bears.
Yeah,
he's going for these fourth downs early. They didn't need to.
It was mistakes. Probably the most impressive play calling and creativity. And you got to have some wrinkles when you're playing a team for the third time. You got to have some wrinkles. I thought they did that. And then the half, they're up obviously 21-3. And I'm not excited, but I'm like, okay. The second half come, and it's like Dennis Allen and that defense says, hey, if we're going to lose, we're going to give them everything we got. Because when you look at what they were doing from a pressure standpoint and what they started doing in that second half, this is what turned the tide. If you look at the numbers, in the first half, 2 pressures. Second half, 10. What did we see in Jordan Love and that offense in the first half? Him sitting back there, just surveying, being special, dissecting everything. In the second half, it was like, look, we can't let them sit back there, make them make an adjustment. They never adjusted. Offensively and defensively, you let Caleb continue to get outside, contain, rush lane integrity. It was the most, it was the most frustrating game to watch all weekend because to have a lead 21-3 against the Bears and Danny's in the stands with the cheese grater on his head, I can't wait. I'm like, this is perfect.
I agree. First of all, both stories are huge. I don't want to take anything from the Bears. This is what they do. This is not like this was the first or second time they've done it all year. So I do have to give them credit. They did it 7 times this year, came back like this and won games. So I'll give them credit. But the bigger story is the Packers because, for one, this might have coaching ramifications. Now, all the reporting seems that they're going to stick with Matt LaFleur.
I think the bigger story is the first flag planted of Caleb Williams' arrival. I think that has the longer historical tale because I do think Caleb is going to be a great quarterback, and I think that we'll see how this season ends up, ending. But we've talked about that before. We're going to talk about that more. I want to say something about the Packers side of it because first of all, the fact that these two teams played 3 times, the Bears won 2 of them, and this graphic about offensive plays run while leading exists is the craziest thing I've ever seen. The Bears won 2 of the 3 games. They ran 0 offensive plays with the lead. What's so wild? I'll just be very quick. I've never seen a comeback like this in this regard. The Bears were not that good through large stretches of the comeback.
Yes.
They turned it over on a 4th down in the 5-yard line. They got a huge punt return to put them on the plus side. They got 2 yards on the drive. They gave up a touchdown.
Yeah.
During the Packers had 8 drives after going up 21-3. I've never seen, as brilliant as Caleb was overall in the second half, there were a ton of moments watching it where it's like, oh man, if the Bears score here, they could come back. They don't score, and they came back anyway because the Packers gave them the ball back instantly.
Yeah, this is honestly my identical take from when the Broncos came back to the Giants, and Nick said, "Oh, the bigger story is about the Giants, not about the Broncos." And my whole thing is that every big crazy comeback, there's going to need to be some sort of collapse from the other team. The other team has to help you out, right? The other team has to play their part in you coming back. It's how it works, right? There's like really no other way to get around that. I think if the Packers were full strength, truly, and this team, we were feeling like this Packers team is elite, this Packers team is special, this Packers team is ready to go on a Super Bowl run, then maybe I think that story could significantly outweigh the Bears comeback. But I think ultimately the special plays that we ultimately saw from Caleb outweighs that more than anything. If the Bears just kind of found a way to win, and I don't know, it's hard because the the point turnaround was so big that I'm just trying to think of a way in which like you come back, maybe like on a kick return, you score a touchdown, and then the Packers fumble on their own 20-yard line or something. Maybe it's a scoop and score. Like I don't know if it was maybe just a little bit weirder. Kind of in a way that we saw, although this was also kind of separated because of spectacular plays by Caleb, but with like the onside kick and whatnot. But it wasn't. Like there was moments of greatness. There were moments of just out of your mind, eyes falling out of your head, mouth wide open of just like, what was that? That was unbelievable. And that's where you then just have to be like, yeah, the Packers obviously left the door wide open for you because they have to in a comeback. They have to. But the way in which the Bears did it, and that is where it's just kind of funny, though, because, right, it wasn't perfect. There was a time when I was like, they should just kick a field goal. And they didn't, and they turned it over. And I was like, well, I know they're down by a lot, and I know the math, I was live streaming. I was like, I know the math doesn't 100% make sense, but like, I don't know. I was like, you can find a way to make it work. I was like, I think it's a little bit better than getting nothing. And then they got nothing out of it. And then like the next drive, they ended up kicking that field goal anyway. So I was like, you ended up just getting 3 points out of it anyway. Like, and so it was a very weird comeback, but it was punctuated with so many special plays, special play calls, special plays by Caleb. Like, so yeah, I mean, it was just a wild game. It was, and I think sometimes that is the story. It was just a wild game. And I know going into this, we were always going to be like, what's the bigger story? The Packers collapse or the Bears comeback? The 49ers winning and the Eagles losing. Right? We do that in all of these types of games. And I know fans always get very frustrated by it because if you say, oh, the bigger story is about the Packers collapse, the Bears are like, that's not fair. Put some respect on us, right? And it's just, every team does that. And so I lean towards it being more of a 50-50, but you lose that 50-50 when the Packers are just, they're the 7 seed, they're on the road, they're not 100%, far from it. And I know some of the Bears were like, well, we're not 100%, and it's like, yeah, but the Packers are missing like their actual game-changing players, right? Like they're missing their true superstars on both sides of the ball. And the Bears, though, outweigh it because of the greatness that we saw that led to the win, not to mention their first playoff win in forever. Ben Johnson, year 1. Caleb Williams, year 2, year 1 with Ben Johnson. Like, I just find this game from the Bears' perspective so much more profound, so much more exciting, so much more grounding in reality of what's to come into the future and what the expectations are moving on with each week that passes and what you just overall can expect from this franchise moving forward. Like that like there's real data, there's real evidence, there's real information, real game to unpack and unfold and evaluate and confirm with this Bears team right now, with Caleb, with Ben Johnson specifically. Those are obviously the two main people, and that's not necessarily the story with the Green Bay Packers. That's why the bigger story for the Eagles loss is the Eagles loss, because it's like you had a great team. You have problems with coaching, right? Like there's real consequences for that. There's not real consequences for the 49ers losing or the 49ers winning, for that matter. The Packers winning or losing. For the Bears, there is. So that's, to me, is where the story is, honestly. And there was this constant trying to evaluate and figure out who is Caleb Williams, who is Ben Johnson, who is Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, who is this Chicago Bears team, etc., etc., etc. But the game was crazy. The game was wild. And ultimately, that is the story more than it. We can talk about, well, it's actually more about Caleb. It's actually more, the bigger story is just the game was big. The game was crazy. It was the definition of playoff football. It was awesome. It was exciting. It was box office, and it was everything you could ever hope for in a playoff game. So what more could you ask for? But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears? Do you think they were the bigger story, or do you think Green Bay was? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.